This is the new Toyota RAV4, but it's not entirely new. It is a heavy facelift, like what they've done with the new Camry and the all-new Hilux. But the previous RAV4 was a hard car to improve. It drove nicely, it had a really efficient hybrid powertrain, and to many people, including myself, that was the benchmark in the medium-sized SUV category. And for this new model, pricing has gone up. There is a new interior, new styling, new tech and features, and the hybrid powertrain promises to be more efficient. But has Toyota done enough? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, because whilst the RAV4 does so many great things, there are some shortcomings. And I'm also going to take this out for a drive and finish off with a verdict and tell you if you should or shouldn't buy a RAV4. So, of course, before we start, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and let's get straight into the review. The RAV4 is a medium-sized SUV, which competes with cars like the Honda CR-V, the Mazda CX-5, Hyundai Tucson, and many other competitors in this segment. And the whole range is petrol hybrid only, and there's also a plug-in hybrid version coming very soon, and pricing specific to the petrol hybrid starts from $45,000, ranging upwards to $60,000 before on-road costs. And in terms of options on this model grade, you have 8 external colours to pick from, including 2 interior colours for the inside. And the brand also offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and if you service it every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, you get an additional 2 years for the powertrain. And finally, a big thank you to Southern Highland Toyota. They have lent me this RAV4 to review, and they are located in Vale of New South Wales, and I've shared their details in the description below. Okay, let's talk about styling. This is finished off in frosted white, and comparing it to the previous RAV4, which I quite liked, the new version adopts the hammerhead design theme up front. And there are also these C-shaped LED headlights with LED DRLs, LED fog lights down below, plastic body cladding, and the grille design is very similar to what you'll find on a new generation Hilux and the recently updated Corolla Cross. And if we take a look at the side view, the Cruiser gets 20-inch wheels, wrapped in Bridgestone tyres, and they're finished off in gloss black, complemented by the machined outer section. And this isn't a medium-sized SUV without black plastic body cladding on all 4 corners and on that lower section, even though this car can't go off-road. And looking further down the side, black power-folding mirrors, privacy glass from B-pillar to the back, roof rails on that top section, and a large panoramic glass sunroof which can open and close. And if we come to the rear design, you have full LED tail lights opposed to the partial LEDs like what was featured on the previous version. I can see also the glass blends with this gloss black panel, a small Toyota badge with RAV4 spelt out, cruiser badging to say to people that you are driving around in the top grade cruiser, and HEV badging to signify that this is the petrol hybrid. And like on a Mercedes-Benz or BMW, you get a dash cam built in. You also have a spoiler up the top here, and down below, again, being an SUV, plastic body cladding with a grey plastic insert. Let's now move on to the interior. If we quickly look at the previous generation, that did come across generic and simple, but it was well made, and yeah, I did classify that as the benchmark in terms of fit and finish and quality. But from what we can see on this newest generation, tech has been upgraded. You get a big screen up here with a screen here, and there are some cool boxy elements to the interior as well. So it definitely feels like an upgrade. And when it comes to fit and finish, a solid door slam, very unusual grab handles, and up here, soft, very soft on that door panel, and some plastic lower down, and of course some soft padding up here. Up here there is some plastic, and of course looking lower down here. Over here, this is durable but in a good way, and this is soft-ish and durable also in a good way. You do also get a leather accented steering wheel, which feels pretty good to grip onto, and that offers tilt and reach adjustment manually. And the seat design is new for this generation. They are finished off in perforated leather with this suede insert and feel pretty supportive to sit in. You do get electronic seat adjustment for both the front row seats, a power lumbar support function for the driver, including seat memory function to save and store seating positions, seat heating and ventilation, along with dual zone climate control built in within the system, plus a dedicated climate menu. And I should note that lower grade models get a smaller 10-inch screen and additional physical buttons, whereas some of the functions on this are touch operated, but you do get physical buttons for your temperature, demisters, a volume dial and some buttons on the wheel. And this new generation RAV4 debuts a new infotainment system. It works a little bit like before, but as you can see, you have a home screen here and you can cycle between different functions over on the right hand side, and as expected, wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And there are key features such as inbuilt navigation with 3D mapping, and that looks pretty clear, and that also integrates your Google Maps, and along with a sophisticated voice control system. Hey Toyota, open the window.
Okay.
Hey Toyota, I'm cold.
Okay, lowering the airflow and increasing the temperature.
Pretty smart system. Moving on to media, AM, FM, DAB, Spotify, Bluetooth, USB connections down here with 2 wireless phone charging pads. Lower grades get a 6-speaker sound system, whereas higher grades like this Cruiser get a 9-speaker JBL sound system. And as you can see, the car is connected, and what that means is you can run software updates to the system, control some of the functions on your phone, and check the vehicle status. There's an SOS button up the top here to call for help, and there's also a drive recorder, which is your inbuilt dash camera. And there are also driver profiles which you can set up to save and store menu configurations and even seating positions. Next, moving on to safety. You get a surround view camera system with a rear and front forward facing view, parking guidelines, and the picture quality looks pretty decent. And if you click on this button down here, that'll take you into a top down view, including your 360 view. There are also front and rear parking sensors, a rear cross and a front cross traffic alert as well, auto dimming rear vision mirror, and if you can't quite see what's behind you, you can go into a camera based mirror, which is pretty handy. There is also blind spot monitoring and a safe exit warning assist, so that'll alert you if an oncoming car or cyclist is coming your way, ripping off your door. There's also autonomous emergency braking, radar guided cruise control with stop and go function, a lane departure warning, and a lane keeping assistant. And the steering does have the ability to steer itself within its lane. A driver monitoring system up here, speed sign recognition, and right in front of me a head-up display which looks pretty clear when it comes to definition, and down here a 12.3-inch screen which also features a new menu structure, so you can cycle between different configurations over in the center section. The right side is fixed, and on the left hand side you can also cycle down to what information is important to you. And next we move on to drive modes. There's a button here to cycle between normal, eco, sport and custom, and if you go for this all-wheel drive version you have trail and snow, plus a hill descent control. And if you do have enough charge in the battery, you can push EV mode, and that'll run the car only using the battery pack for about 1 kilometre. And this button here, the hold function, prevents the car rolling back if you're on a hill, in drive for example. And next, moving on to storage, there is a party piece. The glove box opens up both sides, that's pretty cool, and you can also remove it to provide yourself a durable table for eating things or whatever you want to do. And beneath it, decent amount of storage with a 12-volt socket and USB-C port. And looking around, 2 small cup holders for small bottles of water or a coffee cup, spot here for 2 phones, 2 USB-C charging ports, and a small damped glove box, which is overall decent enough in terms of size. A little bit of storage up here, and over on the far right side, a section here to insert tickets, credit cards, money. The door bins are quite decent. You can fit a large water bottle. There's a sunglasses holder up here, vanity mirrors behind the sun visors, and climbing in and out is pretty easy. The car has a low hit point, and you also get keyless entry, a remote key, and push button down the bottom here. Okay, here in the second row with this seat set in my driving position, knee room is pretty good, so is toe room and headroom. And over in the middle seat, again, knee room, toe room, headroom is excellent. And on high grade models, such as this Cruiser, the two outboard seats can be heated. You'll also come across two USB-C charging ports, directional air vents over in the centre, mat pockets, grab handles with Kodak hangers, lighting up the top here, and a flip down armrest with two small cup holders. But whilst the door bin storage is decent, it isn't big enough for a large water bottle. And I should also point out that these seats do not move forwards or backwards like what they can do in a Nissan X-Trail, for example. But the rear seats can recline backwards and forwards for additional headroom and comfort. But what about child seats? Well, the doors don't open up all that wide, but you do get two ISOFIX points on the two outboard seats, and right behind me, 3 top tether points. The top grade versions of the RAV4 come with an automatic power boot lid, which you can open by pushing a button inside or by pushing a button underneath that logo. You can also use the kick sensing function, which is quite handy at a shopping centre, or just press the button on the key fob, and as you can see and hear, it's quite slow and noisy. But once it is open, you have plenty of space for large items of luggage, including 2 large suitcases, enough room for a pram, shopping bags, and you can also fold down the rear seats into a 60-40 split, and that is going to expand your boot volume, and when you put the seats back up, they don't catch on to the seat belts. And you can also adjust the boot floor section, and I should also point out the low entry point and the flat floor. There are also shopping bag hooks, tie-down points to keep items secure, a 12-volt socket, LED lighting, and beneath the floor section, a feature that you don't often come across on a hybrid or on most brand new vehicles, a space saver spare tyre, and on the base model GX you can get a full-size spare tyre. The new RAV4 will come with either the option between plug-in hybrid or this normal petrol hybrid. So this here is a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder non-turbo petrol engine, and it outputs 143 kilowatts of power, and that is lower compared to the previous generation, which made 163 kilowatts of power, and that is due to emissions. So as a result, Toyota had to detune this 5th generation hybrid system, and the powertrain is linked to an eCVT transmission. There's a front electric motor, and on this all-wheel drive version, you get an additional electric motor for added traction. Okay, driving impressions inside the all-new RAV4 petrol hybrid. One key difference that you'll notice comparing it to the previous generation of RAV4, the dashboard is lower. And what that means is you have better forward visibility. And side vision is also pretty good. The wing mirrors are pretty decent, and at the back, rear vision is also pretty good as well. And driving around at low speeds, the cabin is quiet. If you have enough charge in the battery, it's an easy car to get used to. The suspension feels nice and soft, city-tuned suspension, so not as firm comparing it to a Kia Sportage. And the steering feedback, it's nice and direct, a sharp turning circle, as you can see there. Electric power steering as well, but not as dynamic compared to a Honda CR-V or Kia Sportage or even a Mazda CX-5. But on a day-to-day basis, this is the car I'd rather pick because it does what it says on the box. It's spacious, comfortable, easy to get used to, and I've said it before, Toyota makes the best hybrid systems because they've been doing it for over 25 years. So the throttle response is nice and smooth, it's not lurchy, the brake pedal feel, it's not spongy, and those are factors that you do come across on a lot of the new brands, especially coming out from China. It's non-turbo, but combined with the hybrid system, the petrol engine, it's pretty quick. And this was detuned for emissions, this 5th generation hybrid system, so it is less powerful, but it still has plenty of power and more than enough power for everyday driving, getting up to speed on the motorway. The only thing that you will notice is the CVT groan coming from the eCVT transmission. So when you put your foot flat, you hear a little bit of CVT groan, but it's not as bad as a Subaru Forester or some other brands. and at higher speeds you do come across a bit of tyre roar and some wind noise coming into the cabin. So overall not perfect, but it is one of the better cars in the segment when it comes to refinement, performance, hybrid drivetrains, and when it comes to safety systems. You can configure the safety items within the screen and switch some items off if you wanted to, but with everything on, I don't really find this car annoying or intrusive in terms of the safety tech. So for example, setting the adaptive cruise control is easy to do. The driver monitoring system isn't annoying like on a Kia or a Hyundai or some of the newer brands, and even the lane centering doesn't interfere. So safety tech on any Toyota and Lexus is pretty good. And finally, the big question, fuel consumption. The official combined figure for this petrol hybrid is 4.6 litres per 100. Now, with a mixture of town driving, country driving, a bit of freeway driving, right now it is showing 3.7 litres per 100. And to put that into context, the previous generation RAV4 would have achieved 5.5 litres per 100. Well, that's what I got. So would I pick this hybrid version over the plug-in hybrid version? Well, I haven't driven the plug-in hybrid yet, so it's hard to make a clear decision. But in my circumstances, not having access to charging, I'd pick the petrol hybrid, but some people do have access to charging, so a PHEV might suit their lifestyle. But in the grand scheme of things, I think a petrol hybrid will be easier to sell, resale will be a bit better, and I think overall, to most buyers, this will be all the car that you need. It's more attainable in terms of price, and again, it'll suit more lifestyles because don't forget, if you don't have access to charging, then the PHEV does not work, in my opinion. But tell me what you think in the comments below, and let's finish off with a verdict. So, what is my conclusion on the new RAV4? Well, like I said, it's not entirely new, and pricing has come up a bit, and when you step up to a top grade model, or even the plug-in hybrid, this does get expensive. And it is going to be interesting to see how this competes with some of the new brands coming out from China, which are more attainable in terms of price. They do come with a lot of tech and features, plenty of hybrid systems to pick from as well. But there is still a waiting list for RAV4, roughly around 3 months. So people still value reliability, resale value, and brand reputation. And in my opinion, I still think this is the best benchmark vehicle for a medium-sized SUV. When it comes to resale, the hybrid powertrain, space, and it's also comfortable and it drives pretty well. But tell me your feedback. What do you think of the RAV4, and did you find this video helpful? And if you want to see more content, please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.